Top of the day, beautiful people. Talay, Shayla, Tiffany, peace and blessings. Batwabu, great rising. All right, beautiful people. Happy Sunday, happy Sunday. All right, we live on YouTube, y'all. Okay, bring my stuff. There we go. People. Shalom, Auntie, shalom. Hello, beautiful people. Happy Sunday, happy Sunday. It is May the 2nd, 2021, day 143 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. And of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 812. We are reading 1 Chronicles 11, 12, and 13. Okay. We go back to our new book that we're reading today, Fossilized Customs, and pick up where we left off at yesterday on page 12. Well, it'll be page 13 today. Excuse me. Okay. Check my volumes. Okay. All right, now. So let's go ahead and do the shimmer. Which is found in Deuteronomy chapter 6 at verse 3. Remember, read the full chapter, everybody, for the full context of everything, because it tells you more of what Yahuah said that we would be blessed with, right? When we keep the statutes. This is not the only place, but this is where the Shema is found. So we do that here. Therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as Yahuah, the God of our fathers, has promised us in the land that flows with milk and honey. Here, O Israel, means pay attention. Everybody, pay attention. Listen. Here, O Israel, Yahuah, our God, He is one God. And you shall love Yahuah your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart. And you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. And Yahuah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear Yahuah, our God, for our good always, that He might preserve us alive, as it is at this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before Yahuah our God, as He has commanded us. Canada, shalom, peace, and blessings. All right, y'all. So let's hop right to it today. 1 Chronicles chapter 11. David becomes king of all of Israel. Then all Israel gathered before David at Hebron and told him, "We are your own flesh and blood. In the past, even when Saul was king, you were the only one who really led the forces of Israel. And Yahuah your God told you, you will be the shepherd of my people Israel. You will be the leader of my people Israel." So there at Hebron, David made a covenant before Yahuah with all the elders of Israel, and they anointed him king of Israel, just as Yahuah had promised through Samuel. Then David and all of Israel went to Jerusalem, or Jebus, as it used to be called, where the Jebusites, the original inhabitants of the land, were living. The people of Jebus taunted David, saying, "You will never get in here." But David captured the fortress of Zion, which is now called the city of David. So remember how we always talk, I like to point these things out. When places are captured or destroyed, the incoming people, if they want to take over that land, they also destroy it, but not just removing or killing off the people, but they also change all the names. So the city of Jerusalem was Jebus, right? But David renamed it to the city of David, or the city of Zion, or the fortress of Zion, right? Okay, so that was just another example. David has said to his troops, whoever is first to attack the Jebusites will become the commander of my armies. And Joab, the son of David's sister Zeruiah, was the first to attack, so he became the commander of David's armies. David made the fortress his home, and that is why it is called the city of David. He extended the city from the supporting terraces to the surrounding area, while Joab rebuilt the rest of Jerusalem. And David became more and more powerful because Yahuah, the God of heaven's armies, was with him. These are the leaders of David's mighty warriors. Together with all Israel, they decided to make David their king, just as Yahuah had promised concerning Israel. Here is the record of David's mightiest warriors. The first was Joshabin, the Hakmonite, who was the leader of the three, the mightiest warriors among David's men. He once used his spear to kill 300 enemy warriors in a single battle. Next in rank among the three was Eleazar, son of Dodai, a descendant of Yahuah. He was with David when the Philistines gathered for battle at Pasdammim, and attacked the Israelites in a field full of barley. The Israelite army fled, but Eleazar and David held their ground in the middle of the field and beat back the Philistines. So Yahuah saved them by giving them a great victory. Once, when David was at the rock near the cave of Adullam, the Philistine army was camped in the valley of Rephaim. The three, who were among the 30, an elite group from among David's fighting men, went down to meet him there. David was staying in a stronghold at the time, and the Philistine detachment had occupied the town of Bethlehem. David remarked longingly to his men, "Oh, how I would love some of that good water from the well by the gate in Bethlehem." So the three broke through the Philistine lines, drew some water from the well by the gate in Bethlehem, and brought it back to David. But David refused to drink it. Instead, he poured it out as an offering to Yahuah. "Yah forbid that I should drink this," he exclaimed. "This water is as precious as the blood of these men who risked their lives to bring it to me." So David did not drink it. These are examples of the exploits of the three. Abishai, the brother of Joab, was the leader of the 30. He once used his spear to kill 300 enemy warriors in a single battle. It was by such feats that he became as famous as the three. Abishai was the most famous of the 30 and was their commander, though he was not one of the three. There was also Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, a valiant warrior from Kabzeel. He did many heroic deeds, which included killing 2 champions of Moab. Another time, on a snowy day, he chased down a lion into a pit and killed it. Once, armed with only a club, he killed an Egyptian warrior who was 7.5 feet tall and who was armed with a spear as thick as a weaver's beam. Benaiah wrenched the spear from the Egyptian's hand and killed him with it. Deeds like these made Benaiah as famous as the 3 mightiest warriors. He was more honored than the other members of the 30, though he was not one of the 3. David made him captain of his bodyguard. David's mighty warriors also included Asahel, Joab's brother, Elhanan, the son of Dodo from Bethlehem, Shammah from Harod, Helez from Pelon, Ira, son of Ikish from Tekoa, Abiezer from Anathoth, Sibbecai from Husha, Zalman from Ahoah, Mahari from Netophah, Heled, son of Benah from Netophah, Ittai, son of Ribai from Gibeah in the land of Benjamin, Benaiah from Pirathon, Hurai from near Nahel Geesh, Ablon from Araba, Asmaveth from Buhuram, Eliabah from Shelbon, the sons of Jashan from Gizon. Sorry, y'all. Jonathan, son of Shagi from Harar, Ahiam, son of Sherar from Harar, Eliphel, Eliphel, son of Hefer from Machera, Ahijah from Pelon, Hezro from Carmel, Parai, son of Isbai, Joel, the brother of Nathan, Mibhar, son of Hagri, Zelek from Ammon, Naharai from Beeroth, the armor-bearer of Joab, son of Zariah, Ira from Jatir, Gareb from Jatir, Uriah the Hittite, Zabab, son of Ali, Adina, son of Shiza, the Reubenite, leader, who had 30 men with him, Hanan, son of Mecca, Joshaphat from Mithna, Uzzah from Ashtaroth, Shammah and Jael, the sons of Hotham from Aror, Jediel, son of Shimri, Joha, his brother, from Tiz, Eliel from Mahava, Jerobai and Joshiviah, the sons of Elnam, Ithma from Moab, Eliel and Obed, Jaziel from Zobah. Boy, I be getting tongue-tied on these names, y'all. Y'all gotta forgive me. 1 Chronicles chapter 12. The following men joined David at Ziklag while he was hiding from Saul, son of Kish. They were among the warriors who fought beside David in battle. All of them were expert archers, and they could shoot arrows or sling stones with their left hand as well as their right. They were all relatives of Saul from the tribe of Benjamin. Their leader was Ahiezer, son of Shema from Gibeah. His brother was Joash, the second in command. These were the other warriors. Okay, we're going through some more names, y'all. Jeziel and Pelet, son of Asmaveth, Berekah, Jehu from Anathoth, Ishmaiah from Gibeon, a famous warrior and leader among the 30, Jeremiah, Jahaziel, Johanan, and Jozabad from Gedera, Eluzai, Jeremoth, Beliah, Shemira, and Shephatiah from Haruf, Elkanah, Isha, Azrael, Joezer, and Jashobim, who were Korathites, Jola, and Zebediah, sons of Joraham from Geder. Some brave and experienced warriors from the tribe of Gad also defected to David while he was at the stronghold in the wilderness. They were expert in both shield and spear, as fierce as lions and as swift as deer on the mountains. Ezer was their leader. Obadiah was second. Eliab was third. Mishmanah was fourth. Jeremiah was fifth. Attai was sixth. Eliel was seventh. Johanan was eighth. Elzabad was ninth. Jeremiah was 10th. Macbani was 11th. These warriors from Gad were army commanders. The weakest among them could take on 100 regular troops, and the strongest could take on 1,000. These were the men who crossed the Jordan River during its seasonal flooding at the beginning of the year and drove out all the people living in the lowlands on both the east and the west banks. Others from Benjamin and Judah came to David at the stronghold. David went out to meet them and said, "If you have come in peace to help me, we are friends. But if you have come to betray me to my enemies when I am innocent, then may the God of our ancestors see it and punish you." Then the Spirit came upon Amasai, the leader of the 30, and he said, "We are yours, David. We are on your side, son of Jesse. Peace and prosperity be with you, and success to all who help you. For your God is the one who helps you." Excuse me. So David let them join him, and he made them officers over his troops. Some men from Manasseh defected from the Israelite army and joined David, where he set out with the Philistines to fight against Saul. But as it turned out, the Philistine rulers refused to let David and his men go out with them. After much discussion, they sent them back and said, "It will cost us our heads if David switches loyalties to Saul and turns against us." Here is a list of the men from Manasseh who defected to David as he was returning to Ziklag. Adnah, Jozabad, Jediel, Michael, Jozabad, Elihu, and Zilithai each commanded 1,000 troops from the tribe of Manasseh. They helped David chase down the band of raiders, for they were all brave and able warriors who became commanders in his army. Day after day, more men joined David until he had a great army, like the army of Yahuah. These are the numbers of the armed warriors who joined David at Hebron. They were all eager to see David become king instead of Saul, just as Yahuah had promised. From the tribe of Judah, there were 6,800 warriors armed with shields and spears. From the tribe of Simeon, there were 7,100 brave warriors. From the tribe of Levi, there were 4,600 warriors. This included Jehoiada, leader of the family of Aaron, who had 3,700 under his command. This also included Zadok, a brave young warrior with 22 members of his family who were all officers. From the tribe of Benjamin, Saul's relatives, there were 3,000 warriors. Most of the men from Benjamin remained loyal to Saul until this time. From the tribe of Ephraim, there were 20,800 brave warriors, each highly respected in his own clan. From the half-tribe of Manasseh, west of the Jordan, 18,000 men were designated by name to help David become king. From the tribe of Issachar, there were 200 leaders of the tribe with their relatives. All these men understood the signs of the times and knew the best course for Israel to take. From the tribe of Zebulun, there were 50,000 skilled warriors. They were fully armed and prepared for battle and completely loyal to David. From the tribe of Naphtali, there were 1,000 officers and 37,000 warriors armed with shields and spears. From the tribe of Dan, there were 28,600 warriors, all prepared for battle. From the tribe of Asher, there were 40,000 trained warriors, all prepared for battle. From the east side of the Jordan, where the tribes of Reuben and Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh lived, there were 120,000 troops, armed with every kind of weapon. All of these men came in battle array to Hebron with the single purpose of making David the king over all Israel. In fact, everyone in Israel agreed that David should be their king. They feasted and drank with David for 3 days, for preparations had been made by their relatives for their arrival. And the people as far away as Issachar, Zebulun, and Naphtali bought food on donkeys, camels, mules, and oxen. Vast supplies of flour, fig cakes, clusters of raisins, wine, olive oil, cattle, sheep, and goats were brought to the celebration. There was great joy throughout the land of Israel. All right, y'all, last chapter for the day. 1 Chronicles chapter 13. David consulted with all his officials, including the generals and the captains of his army. Then he addressed the entire assembly of Israel as follows. If you approve, and if it is the will of Yahuah our God, let us send messages to all of the Israelites throughout the land, including the priests and Levites in their towns and pasture lands. Let us invite them to come and join us. It is time to bring back the ark of our God, for we neglected it during the reign of Saul. The whole assembly agreed to this, for the people could see it was the right thing to do. So David summoned all of Israel from the Shihor brook of Egypt in the south all the way to the town of Lebo-Hamath in the north to join in and bring the ark of Yahuah from Kiriath Jearim. Then David and all of Israel went to Bela of Judah, also called Kiriath Jearim, to bring back the ark of Yahuah, which bears the name of Yahuah, who is enthroned between the cherubim. They placed the ark of Yahuah on a new cart and brought it from Abinadab's house. Uzzah and Ahio were guiding the cart. David and all of Israel were celebrating before Yahuah with all their might, singing songs and playing all kinds of musical instruments, lyres, harps, tambourines, cymbals, and trumpets. But when they arrived at the threshing floor of Nacon, the oxen stumbled, and Uzzah reached out his hand to steady the ark. Then Yahuah's anger was aroused against Uzzah, and he struck him dead, because he laid his hand on the ark. So Uzzah died there in the presence of Yahuah. And we all know, if they were familiar with the commands surrounding the ark, first of all, David should have known nobody but the Levites, the priests, are to carry the ark, right? And second of all, it should not have been being carried on a cart. What are the priests supposed to do? I mean, the Levites, what are they supposed to do? They are supposed to carry the ark on their shoulders. Had the ark been on their shoulders when they crossed the threshing floor, there would have been no cause for stumbling. There would have been no cause for the ark to almost fall to the ground. Well, Uzzah thought he was doing a good thing to reach out and catch it, and he died. You were out of place. You should not have been there, right? That's the Levite's job. David was angry because Yahuah's anger had burst out against Uzzah. He named that place Perez Uzzah, which means to burst out against Uzzah, as it is still called today. David was now afraid of Yahuah, and he asked, how can I ever bring the ark of Yahuah back into my care? So David did not move the ark into the city of David. Instead, he took it to the house of Obed-Edom of Gath. The ark remained there in Obed-Edom's house for 3 months, and Yahuah blessed the household of Obed-Edom and everything he owned. All right, beautiful people. So that is our reading for today. That was 1 Chronicles 11, 12, and 13. And now, get your books out if y'all got it. If y'all ain't got it, listen closely. Fossilized Customs, y'all. All right, so let's hop over to page 13. And remember, today it's starting with the title, Doctrines of Demons. That's what it looked like. Okay, y'all see that? Okay. All right, y'all. Okay. The goal of our enemy is to keep us from truth, wasting our time until we die without it. Ooh, I didn't mean to cut in so early, but perfect example. Listen. And anybody that has been caught up in church doctrine knows this to be the truth. Okay, so some of the stuff that you learn in the Christian, not everything is bad. Hear me out. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, y'all. But a lot of the stuff that has been made up and keep people like running in circles, I began to notice that it's like we're wasting our time constantly. Not saying that we're not looking for Yahuah, but certain things like people, let's just use this. The rapture, right? The rapture is a touchy subject with some people, right? Because they're waiting on JC to come back and take them up out of here, right? So, but here's what happens, and I notice it. Once I began to notice it, before I had fully come into a lot of this stuff, it's like, man, they've been saying this for a long time. I'm not saying that just because something has been being said for a long time and it hasn't happened yet, it's not going to happen. I'm not saying that, but some things become a little suspect after a while, right? And as I began to read through the Old Testament as well, it's like, wait a minute, okay, that's when Yahuah started bringing, so that's the whole reason why Yahuah started pointing out to me time markers and paying attention to the time and how he acts, and when he says he's going to do something, look at what he said in the period of time that he's going to bring it to pass, right? So that's why y'all always hear me talking about people who give open-ended prophecies or just say like soon and stuff like that. You have to be careful, right? Just to make sure, because people who are taken by the rapture doctrine, you will see a lot of them. I'll just tell you from some of my experience. If you go to like some of the YouTube channels and the rapture videos, the views are out of the park. Like they got thousands and thousands of views on all types of rapture doctrine. If you put rapture in your title or in your tags, you are sure to get all these type of views, because that's a hot topic, especially in the Christian world. And people, they're looking for it. They're trying to find out more about it, right? But what happens is some people become so taken by it, it's like they can't do anything else because they're constantly looking for the rapture to happen. So they're preparing stuff. And a lot of people, there's a situation, I'm going to tell you this after this. People they begin, not saying that you shouldn't prepare, but they become overly consumed where they can't function and do anything else. Some people, they can't work a steady job because they think the rapture gonna happen anytime, and they like preparing stuff, and they out here doing a bunch of stuff that's scaring the crap out of people. Not saying that you shouldn't warn people, but if you know that something is going to happen, and you know that you're a part of whatever this event is, you can go on living life, doing what you need to do, worry about the now, and taking care of business, your family, and all this stuff without being over super religious and becoming a nutcase. And you can like still live life. But what you see happen a lot of times, people who are completely taken by it, if you watched your life over the course of years, you will realize they are really not productive in any real kind of way. It's like they're still in the same place 10 years later, right? And that is scary. It's a time waster. It causes them to waste time, and a lot of people go to the grave not accomplishing anything in their life because they are caught up with a doctrine, something that has been explained the wrong way and is not true. They made life decisions and have done nothing with their lives all this entire time, right? And I said it because of this right here. The goal of our enemy is to keep us from truth, wasting our time until we die without it, right? And a lot of them, when they get hooked on it, they go to the grave still waiting on it, right? Generations come and generations go, right? But if we read the words of Yah, we know that many more generations are going to come even after us, right? There's no rapture that's going to come and swoop you and take you to heaven. You can best believe you're going to go to the grave first before that happens. Now, what Yahuah does talk about is a returning to the land of his people. That's I ain't even going to say the closest thing to the rapture, what the church teaches, because it's still kind of chopped and screwed what they teach. If they would teach it appropriately, they would get their minds wrapped around truth and begin seeing things happen in this physical world whereby they can pinpoint real actions and line up some of the biblical history with current things that is going on now, right? So a lot of the stuff it just really keeps you going in circles. And I remember growing up, my family was a part of this. I ain't gonna say it, but in my family, no, but it was like this little home church, right? But blessed be the most holy that he got us out of there once we started seeing things kind of turn for the worse. Because sometimes, and they were good people, loving people, but what happened was it started out really good, them teaching the word or whatever, but then something took a turn, and I was like 10 years old at the time, but I'll never forget some of this stuff. It's almost like some of the stuff you see on TV, like cults. Like, I'm like, oh, shoot, but my family, Yahuah just kind of moved us out of that. But what happened, that the people there, they began to, like, shut themselves in, like, all the time, and they were, like, they were doing weird things. Like, you hear in the church people praying in tongues, right? But it got even weirder, whereby when they were praying in tongues, they were saying that they were talking to other people in other nations. I'm like, well, and me as a 10, 11-year-old girl, I'm sitting here watching this because they got all the kids sitting over here. They ain't had like a children's church, but the adults right here, you got the person up here teaching and the kids sitting back here. And all of us kids back there in the corner talking amongst ourselves and giggling and stuff. And just like watching this stuff going on, we was like, what is they doing? They like having conversations with people. They said it wasn't like they was calling out places like a person in Iraq and stuff. And I'm like, and I'm sitting here watching this as a child. I'm like, can you do that for real? Like, and my cousin, one of my older cousins, he was sitting there cracking jokes the whole time, and we laughed, and they turned like, yo, shut up, be quiet, better act like you got some sense, right? And so we back there, we watching this, and I was like, can you like talk to people like that? And my cousin, he was sitting back there, he was cursing too, but they couldn't hear him, but we, but he was like, he said, that was some telekinesis type stuff, so we sitting back there and we watching all this, and I thought it was funny, but I thought it was really weird. I'm like, I don't know that you can you're supposed to be doing this type of stuff, right? So we would watch it, and I would just be like, I don't know that this is right, but clearly my mom and them kind of got the hint and just kind of start distancing us away. Because I was a little girl, I'm like, God, and I was calling him God at the time. I was like, God, I know they say this is you, but something don't seem right to me. I don't think you're supposed to be doing this type of stuff, right? So I was having these little prayers, and I'm like, well, we got to get out of here. And I was like, I don't want to go to that place, but eventually we did. My family moved away. But what happened was, apparently after we left, it got even more weird, right? To where a couple other people started coming in, and they finally decided they was going to go on this, I don't know what they call it. They was going on this spiritual type journey, whatever, and they locked themselves in the house. Like they literally barricaded themselves inside the house where they didn't come out for weeks and weeks. One of the people died inside of there. Matter of fact, all of them who were there, I think a couple people left after the time. They said, look, I ain't signed up for this. This is, I don't know what y'all doing now. I thought this was going somewhere, but, But what happened was, all of them people, like, they didn't kill themselves or anything like that, like you see, like, on, like, Waco and stuff like that. But what happened, like, I think one of them had a heart attack, like, all of them, like, they had gotten so far off into what, I don't even know how you can get off like that. Something must have came in. I don't know, but all of them in that they all, none of them are living today, right? And they were constantly like preaching some of the church doctrine and stuff that we clearly know today is off, and we trying to bring light to some of the stuff. Like, people, y'all got to pay attention, right? So you have to be careful, and that was just an example of this right here, just the first sentence we read, right? The goal of our enemy is to keep us from truth. Remember, Yahuah's was practicing for Corona. Lisa, funny. She said maybe they was practicing for Corona. Girl, this was years ago. I mean, I get what you're saying. You're being funny, but girl, I don't know what they was practicing for, but all of them is in the grave now. Look, let me keep reading. The goal of our enemy is to keep us from truth. Remember, Yahuah's word, Yahuah's Torah. Torah means instructions, right? Yahuah's word, Yahuah's Torah, his instruction, that is truth, right? The goal of our enemy is to keep us from truth, wasting our time until we die without it. He must distract us, leading us to think other smarter or educated men have authority, and all you have to do be baptized and go to a Sunday assembly and pay support to them. Arise, shine, for your light has come. Soon you'll understand more about Scripture than your denomination's preacher. You will learn how the dragon is the controller of the world system. Shalom, Mom. Okay, next section is camouflage paganism. Doctrine means teaching. It's a Latin word related to document a written instruction. Doctor means teacher, and we're on page 13, y'all. We've been trained or programmed from birth with various traditions, rituals, and customs. All paganism is targeted at children. How we keep track of time is a worldwide type of programming. Here we will look into how we came to be trained to think of and organize time in our days, months, and years. First thing we do when we awaken each day is check the time. Originally, the hours of daylight were measured by using a sundial, and the shadow of the sun marked off 12 hours until it set. Horoscopos means hour watcher. The marked hours on the sundial pass more quickly in the winter months and slower in the summer months. There was no daylight saving time trick to deal with. The length of hours measured on the sundial varied in length. There were always 12 hours of daylight. What we call noon is the Latin nones, or Nones, meaning 9. It was the 9th hour after sunrise, or 3 p.m. in the ancient world. And that's something I figured out before I started looking at all this. When I was looking at the hours of prayer, looking at the times Daniel would pray, I'm like, wait a minute. And then I looked at some stuff in the New Testament. I was like, wait, they said this is 9 a.m. And I figured that out myself. I'm like, oh shoot. And then when I got here, it's like, I be figuring some of this stuff out for real. Look, okay, there were always 12 hours of daylight, what we call noon, in the Latin nuns, meaning 9. It was the 9th hour after sunrise, or 3 p.m. in the ancient world. Each day of the week was originally referred to by a number. The 7th also had a name, Shabbat, meaning rest or cease. Adam and Yahuah, the first man and woman, observed the 7-day week. There is no one named Eve in the Hebrew text. This name was embraced to appease pagans because one of the names for their earth mother was Eve. The name Yahuah is derived from the Hebrew word Kai, meaning life. Thus her name means mother of the living. The ending ah or ah renders it as feminine, similar to the ending in shara. Shar means prince or ruler. Shara means princess. You will notice the days of the week have been given names. The names were taken from among pagans who honored their deities by calling the days by the names of their idols. Sabbath, Shin Beth Tau. Sabbath. They given the Hebrew letters. The S, B, and the T is Shin, Beth, and Tau, or Shabbat. Shaitan altered the day of rest, or Shaitan is also Satan, right? Okay. Shaitan also altered the day of rest to the pagan dies solis, day of the sun, in 321 by the Edict of Constantine. Since that time, the world has thought of the original Sabbath as the Roman day of Saturn, or Satyr day. What day of the week followed the seventh? What day of the week followed the 7th day? Bereshith, Genesis 2 and 3. It wasn't the 8th day. It was the first day, beginning another cycle over again. A week of 7 days in Hebrew is Shabuah, a word based on the meaning of 7, Sheba. This cycle of 7 is seen throughout Scripture. 7 intact weeks add up to 49 days, as we see prescribed at Leviticus 23:15 and Deuteronomy 16:9, and modeled in years at Leviticus 25 and 8. What day followed the 7th day isn't dependent on anything created during the first 7 days, as some have proposed using the moon phases. The week is its own independent creation of time, determined by counting the days to the 7th day, a sign of rest. Yahuah retrained his people in the wilderness by providing a double portion of manna on the 6th day and none on the 7th. Shaitan molested it as prophesied in Daniel 7:25, and now that people are returning to Shubah means to return, and now that people are returning to Shubah to the correct day, people are trying to blame the 7-day cycle on the Romans and writing books about it, but not citing Scripture. They twist Scripture to force things into meaning to draw away the Talmudim after themselves, or the disciples, or the people is the Talmudim, right? Okay, so we're about to go through Sunday, and it has sun, S-U-N dash day, the day of the sun, Sunday, right? Day 1. From Latin, dies solis, the day of the sun. Since Babylon was established, pagans have worshipped the sun. Here's a few names they've used. Baal, which means Lord, and they have in all capital letters, like when you see it in Scripture, L-O-R-D, they're talking about Baal, right? They replace Yahuah's name with the name of their deities. We think they're general terms, but they're actually referring to pagan deities that they worship, right? The capital L-O-R-D is referring to Baal, right? Okay. Here's a few of the names they've used. Baal, or in capital letters in parentheses, Lord. Baal, Shamash, Moloch, Ahura, Mazda, Dagon, Sol, Marduk, Mithras, Krishna, Amun-Ra, Aton, Woden, Odin, Adonis, Zeus, Deus, and the Druid Teutonic God, and the Druid Teutonic God, God, in this parentheses, God is like a general term, but it's not so much a general term. It is actually referring to one of their pagan deities, right? Okay. You will recall the Pharaoh and the Kaiser, or Caesar, Caesar, were worshipped as the sun's offspring, or the SUNs, the sun's offspring. This pattern began with the first king, Nimrod. Worship of the heavenly hosts. The worship of the sun, moon, planets, and stars was the pattern for the Babylonians, Persians, Chaldeans, Egyptians, Greeks, Romans, Celts, Mayans, Aztecs, and Indians. They were turned over to worship of the host of heaven, Mazzaroth. See Acts 7:42. The governments were the religion. If they were good pagans, at death they would be transported to the skies or heaven to live with their deities. Sound familiar? When you die, you going on up to heaven? It sound familiar to y'all? The governments were the religion. If they were good pagans, at death they would be transported to the skies, heaven, to live with their deities. This was called Nirvana, Shambhala, or Elysian fields. Y'all seen that movie Elysium? I just thought about that. Bruh, look. This was called Nirvana, Shambhala, or Elysian fields. The Roman consul, Emperor Constantine I, gave us the term sun day, and it got a dash, sun dash day, which referred to the day honoring Sol Invictus Mithras, the unconquerable sun, Mithras. This Mithras was the Persian form for Apollo. Here's a coin minted by Constantine showing Apollo and Constantine together. And if you don't have the book, I'm going to show you the coin if you can see it. It's right here, y'all. Let's see. Can y'all see that? Make sure it ain't blurry. Okay. In 321 CE, he decreed under the penalty of death that all artisans, merchants, and people of his empire cease to work on the venerable day of the sun to honor Mithras or Apollo. Like everything in our government, everything is named after deities, right? Think about even the moon escapades with Apollo, all this stuff, y'all. Shalom, Joanne. This was a universal edict and is still enforced in our Western culture with our blue laws. Interestingly, the government phone numbers are printed on blue pages in our U.S. phone books. It was a weekly ritual of sun worshippers to assemble at dawn on this day to greet the sun at its rising. A great pillar or sun ray obelisk was the solar religion's primitive high place, condemned as a pillar of jealousy or secretly, esoterically, interpreted as a male fertility symbol, or the male's penis, right? Tower designs such as steeples, pagodas, turrets, ziggurats, minarets, spires, obelisks, and pyramids are forbidden by Yahuah. The temple did not have a high place, nor do any buildings where Yahuah's people come together. Sacred pillars of jealousy were to be demolished. Yahuah hates them. These pagan high places would receive the first hallowed rays of dawn. In the primitive cultures, bells were rung by hand and in a shaker grid, and large ones were struck with oak logs swung horizontally. Gongs struck with hammers were especially fun for the Oriental pagan, but they also used the familiar bell shape too. In the book Conquest of Peru, Prescott is an eyewitness to blatant sun worship. The Inca would assemble at dawn early. They watched the coming of the deity, and no sooner did his first yellow rays strike the turrets than a shout of gratulation broke forth from the assembled multitude. The wild tunes from barbaric instruments swelled louder and louder as his bright orb shone in full splendor on his votaries. The Romans considered anyone who did not worship the sun to be an atheist, a traitor, since Caesar was the sun enthroned in a man. Foreign beliefs found some tolerance in the Edict of Milan in 313 CE. Religion, politics, and sports were all different facets of the same thing, a means of controlling the behavior of a captive population. A nation can be thought of as a huge neighborhood gang, but with boundaries that end where another gang's boundaries begin. Hey, chill, y'all.
Give me some toothpaste. Oh, no. Mom, someone let me get some toothpaste. I know. Tell Mom. What is these?
It's a cookie. Hold on. A nation can be thought of as a huge neighborhood gang, but with boundaries that end where another gang's boundaries begin. Thugs rule all the citizens. If you get out of line, yeah, give me a few minutes, Pootie. Give me a few minutes.
I can get some.
Okay, is it no more left in there? Go ahead and get one if there's one left. If you get out of, well, there's some upstairs. Go get some of the one upstairs in our room, Pootie. If you get out of line, those in control feel their power over you slipping. Sunday is one of their biggest promotions. Sunday night football. Mona, Moon Day. Okay, so they got a picture of the moon right here. Moon Day or Monday, right? Okay. So it's going to go through all the days of the week. Moon Day, day 2. The Old English term was monandaic, as translated from Latin, where Mona means moon. Mona Lisa means moon lily. We get our word month or month from Mona in the 29.5 day orbital cycle. But this second weekday is named what it is because it has been dubbed the moon's day. The moon was identified with Artemis or Diana, and in some cults the sun and moon were the eyes of heaven. Artemis is depicted with the crescent moon beneath her feet as if riding in a boat, exactly as you will see Miriam or Mary in the Roman Catholic illustrations. The astral king, the sun, and his sister, the moon, were the dominant figures that shaped the astrobiological mind. The futility of honoring pagan deities was because their foolish hearts were darkened. They did not give honor or give thanks to the Creator, though his invisible attributes are clearly seen. Tuesday, day 3. Tyre's Day, or the Day of Tau. Teutonic Druid Celtic idol, or I think it's really Celtic, but it's spelled Celtic. Teutonic Druid Celtic idol. The population of the Anglos and Saxons were kept under control by various Druid priest cults. Like any other pagan religion, the population lived in fear and ignorance while the parasite fed off of them and kept them brainwashed. Druids still worship the sun at Stonehenge every summer solstice. Tyre or Tyru was the Norse deity of war, considered the son of Odin or Woden. The French call this day Mardi, Mars Day, after Mars, the Roman deity of war. Mardi Gras is the French name for Fat Tuesday, still bearing the name of the Roman deity. This festival falls the day before Ash Wednesday, the beginning of Lent, both to be discussed later. Wednesday, day 4. Note, the Celtic crux symbol, or I'll show you this one, the cross right here. Can y'all see that? Just in case y'all don't have a book. Wednesday, day 4. Note, the Celtic crux symbol, solar. This day comes from another pagan idol's name. An elder in Iceland couldn't stand it anymore and changed the days back to numbers for that island several hundred years ago. When we say it's Wednesday or Odin's Day, we are declaring it to be Woden's Day. Considered highly skilled in magic, this Celtic deity was the Teutonic pagan, the husband of Freya or Frigga. The Romans honored Mercury on this day, calling it Mercury's Days or Mercury's Day. This midweek evening was highly regarded as a night of magic. Druids met to hold hands in a circle, enchant, cast spells, and do it while surrounding a burning cross, the symbol of Woden. So the cross is the symbol of Woden or Odin. Y'all see some, if y'all ever watch some of these superhero or Marvel movies, you will hear a lot of these names being said, y'all. The Celtic crux or the cross is a pagan magic symbol. Keep that in mind. Right? The Celtic cross is a pagan magic symbol. The trifolium clover leaf representing Woden, Frigga, and Thor. Other Druid trinities include, Isis, E-S-U-S, Usis, I probably pronounced that wrong, Tutates, and Tyrannus. I pronounced them wrong, I'm sure I did. Anglo-Saxon xenophobia, fear of foreigners, and Druid customs are clearly seen in the modern Ku Klux Klan. They still call their leaders wizards and use the Celtic term clan, a traditional social unit in Scotland. The word comes from the Greek kuklos, meaning circle. They like circles, crosses, and sometimes Druid customs. The Klan, a very secretive society, rose up mainly in the South, in the U.S., after the Civil War to reassert white supremacy by terroristic methods. The Druids were very nationalistic, so it was difficult for Rome to conquer them. The only way Christianity could win them over was to absorb their culture, which is why if you look at some of these older pictures with the Klan, you always see them standing in the church with the banner with Jesus behind it that say we love Jesus, and they holding crosses in full Klan garb, all white, pointed, all of them, right? So some of the things we do in Christianity that I don't used to, but all the things that are being done in Christianity, they've absorbed the Klan and their customs, which is why some people want like, how can they preach JC and they out here killing people, taking pictures and like proud of it? Y'all need to know history and what y'all have been caught up into, right? Don't blame them. Blame us for our ignorance of not knowing this religion that we have joined or been born into, right? When you know it, get out. Get out. That might be the title for today. Get out. I'm telling y'all, get out. I know none of y'all still in, but I'm just saying for those that's coming past, get out. The Klan, a very secretive society, rose up mainly in the South in the U.S. after the Civil War to reassert white supremacy by terroristic methods. The Druids were very nationalistic, so it was difficult for Rome to conquer them. The only way Christianity could win them over was to absorb their culture. This is called enculturation or syncretism. Syncretism is the attempt to reconcile or combine differing beliefs in philosophy or religion by uniting them, mixing two or more behaviors together. The expression on the surface indicates there is something concealed. Is this the real reason some Christians meet together on this night? Wednesday night Bible study. Yo, I just got that. Ooh. Okay, look, okay, look. The expression on the surface indicates there is something concealed. Is this the real reason some Christians meet together on this night? Catholics have always had a novena session on this night intended for new converts to be trained. Woden's emblem was a Celtic cross, a cross with the circle, the sun. No wonder we see so many pictures of crosses with the sun nimbus behind it, and sunsets in Christian art, not to mention the halos of yellow around the head of Jesus and the saints. This will be known to be a worldwide pagan influence. Buddha, Krishna, Ahura, Mazda, and Jupiter are just a few found with halos. And if y'all looked into any of that, y'all would see them halos everywhere, right? Okay. There you go. Christianos, the origin of the word Christian. Christian or Christians is only used 3 times in all of Scripture, and it is only in the Greek translation. The word Christianity is not found. In the ancient setting, it was a term of scorn used by the Greeks to indicate a person would... Oh, look. Let me read this again, because some people might get hit by this comment. Bruh, don't y'all ever, if y'all still call yourself a Christian, y'all better stop it today. Listen to what this means, y'all. Christian or Christians is only used a total of 3 times in all of Scripture, and it is only in the Greek translation. The word Christianity is not found. In the ancient setting, it was a term of scorn used by the Greeks to indicate a person was slow or retarded. Y'all running around here. I ain't saying y'all. People running around here. I'm a Christian. Oh, you sure is. We get our word Cretan from the Greek word Christianos. A dictionary defines Cretan as a fool and idiot. French Cretan idiot from Swiss French Christian or Christian. And they got it spelled differently. Dang, that's what I said. We will examine the word Christian and its use in the Greek world later. For now, let it be enough to say that the sect, or S-E-C-T, the sect which was established by the true Mashiach was called Nazarene. See Acts 24:5. It's easy to fool someone, but difficult to convince them that they've been fooled. Ain't that the truth, right? Okay, Thor's Day. Thursday, day 5. Thursday is Thor's Day, day 5. The Celtic Thor's Day, the deity of thunder and son of Woden and Freya. The same as Tyrannus, Thor was associated with thunder, the Dutch Donder or Germanic Donner, one of Santa's reindeer. The Romans honored Jupiter on this day, which was originally Eupitar or Iu-Pitar, P-I-T-A-R, meaning Jove's father. Jovi, or I think it's Jovi, J-O-V-E, corresponds to Zeus. The altar of Zeus, used at every Olympic game, is lit by a torch. Everything we doing, y'all. The altar is shaped like a T. Oh my gosh. I'm just sitting here, I'm thinking of all this stuff. Y'all ever watch the Olympics and Thor's emblem was the hammer, secretly interpreted as the letter T. Yep. Referring to Tammuz, Babylonian Duzu, the son of Nimrod and Semiramis. Zeus was originally pronounced as Zeus. Well, it has a D, so I'm thinking it. Oh, okay, Duzu. I'm just looking at. I'm think I'm pronouncing it wrong. So Zeus was originally pronounced Duzu. Okay, but it's spelled Dzeus, but above it is Duzu. So Duzu. Okay. Frigga, Celtic name for the Great Mother, Friday, day 6. Old English, I think I'm saying it, hold on. Frigga Diag, I think I pronounced that wrong, y'all. Frigga Dag was the Frey Day or Frigga Day. Frigga was the wife of Woden. The fertility concept associated with this day is very ancient. The Greeks honored Aphrodite on this day, and the Romans venerated Zeus, Astarte. This day was the Egyptians' day of Isis, depicted with the symbol of the fish on her head. The fish symbol predates the Egyptians, coming from the Philistine cult of Dagon. See Judges chapter 16:23 and 1 Samuel chapter 5 verse 2. Dag, D-A-G, is Hebrew for fish, and the Latin is Pisces. It was chosen by pagans because a female fish lays hundreds, sometimes thousands of eggs, a symbol of fertility. The Romans believed Venus, Astarte, came from the sky in a huge egg, not a saucer. We'll go into more detail when we study the Great Mother, Queen of Heaven, Asherah. Frigga's emblems were also mistletoe, and the fish is seen today because Roman Catholics enculturated this into avoiding red meat on this day, replacing it with the fish. Now, see all them fish they got. How should we refer to the days of the week accurately? Well, Yahuah just gave them numbers. Yeah, Yahuah just gave them numbers, Dana, as far as I know, right? Even when we read in the Old Testament when they give it like names, Yahuah, that was something the people did, but Yahuah never gave them names. They were always numbers. Okay. Hold on. Let me go back. Frigga's emblems were also mistletoe and the fish, and it's seen today because Roman Catholics enculturated this into avoiding red meat on this day, replacing it with fish. They have the fish fry. Even the word fry is describing a young fish. The Great Mother, or Magna Mater, was universally represented by the fish emblem. The Greek word Ichthys, spelled Etoa, Chi, Theta, Upsilon, Sigma, spells Ichthys, or fish. And we clearly see that, right? Okay, so anybody, and I know when I was younger, I used to put the Jesus fish on my truck. So anybody, and they got y'all thinking this probably represents the miracle of the fish and the loaves and stuff. That's what they want you to think. You're worshiping pagan deities, y'all. Get them fish off your trucks, off your cars. Burn them. Ichthys doesn't mean Christ. It's Greek for fish. With considerable craft, the fish has become a Christian symbol due to a Greek anagram designed to utilize the Greek anagram Ichthys. Okay, and it shows it. I'll show it right here, the anagram. Okay, just in case y'all don't have the book, right here, right? Yeah, I just want to make sure it's not blurry. Okay, that's the anagram. It's a man-made tradition, and it just spells fish. The use of Christograms or theonyms to stand in the place of the name of a deity was a custom used by mystagogues. They encrypted the name. If you didn't understand that, think about, let's just use, I wish my husband, okay, think about Pepsi, right? And their logo. Now, when Pepsi first came out, and I understand the process of how this is done, right? So say that there's a logo you want to use for your company, i.e. the logo that Pepsi has for their company. As Pepsi has been out, they always have their logo with the name Pepsi under it. And they did that for years, to where now that when you recognize it, when you see the emblem, they no longer need to put the word Pepsi. You can just show this emblem anywhere, and we have already been trained to know, oh, that's Pepsi, right? That's Pepsi. That's Pepsi. So they do the same thing with anagrams. They train you to, so when you see this, oh, this means this means this. That's the same thing that they did with the anagrams or the crystograms. So they take the symbol of the deity and they kind of put a cryptogram under it. Well, this is what this means. This is the Jesus fish right here, right? So everybody thinking, oh, no, we're not worshiping God, multiple gods. This is what this means. No, that's what they trained you to believe that it means, right? Oh, the craftiness, right? Let me go back. With considerable craft, the fish has become a Christian symbol due to a Greek anagram designed to utilize the Greek anagram ichthys. It is a man-made tradition, and it just spells fish. The use of crystograms or theonyms to stand in place of a name of a deity was a custom used by mystagogues. They encrypted the name. Pagans held back the names of their deities. Other forms have been used. IC, XC, IES, IEU, IESOUS, IESV, and IHS. Or we would call them acronyms, right? Okay. In the East, they use IC-XC. In the West, IHS as the Christogram. So if you think about the Pope's robes and stuff, and how they have like the Christograms or the acronyms up there. They get you to think it's something else, but it's really, they have encrypted the names of the pagan deities and the gods that they worship. Okay, that's true. All hail our media overlords. Okay. All right. Oh, look, I'm glad you're here. Look, you responded to one of my comments the other day, but I'm not sure. I don't think you was deleting it, my response to you, but I actually think it was YouTube. So I did respond there. YouTube, we talked about it yesterday. They're deleting comments, I guess, because my response had a couple keywords in it that it went against their the terms of YouTube's community rules, and they deleted it because I tested it on a few other of my own posts that I did, and they immediately deleted. So I did respond to you, but it was deleted. Okay, so that being said, okay, in the East they use IC-XC. In the West, IHS as a Christogram. The name Yahusha means Yahuah, I am your deliverer. The sign of the Mashiach isn't a cross or a fish, but a lampstand, the menorah, Revelations 1 and 2. The Hebrew menorah has 7 lamps and represents his body, the 7 assemblies through which flows the living water, lamp oil, the laws which give light to the world. At Revelation 2 verse 5, he said he would remove the menorah if they did not repent or stop being lawless. Yes, censorship. Have you noticed any menorahs in any Christian homes or meeting houses? He never threatened to remove any fish. And if you go read that, that's what Yahuah always said. Yahuah always talks about a menorah, right? And that's what, even when they were setting up the temple, it was a menorah. Once my attention was brought to that, I started seeing it everywhere. I was like, oh, that is absolutely right. Okay. He never, let me go back up. Have you noticed any menorahs in any Christian homes or meeting houses? He never threatened to remove any fish. Okay, now we're going to Saturday or Satyr Day, SATYR-day, Saturday, day 7. This was the Greco-Roman day of Saturn. Saturn was the Romans' deity of agriculture, corresponding to the Greeks' deity Cronus. This day was dedicated to Saturnus, as was the big party at the end of the Roman year at the solstice Saturnalia. Saturday was also called Satyr, Sater Day, and is unmistakably linked to other Greco-Roman mythology. The satyr, Satyr, is a goat-legged half-man with horns and pointed ears, was believed to be a drunken, lecherous demon with an abnormal sexual appetite. The seventh day of the festival of Saturnalia was modeled perfectly after the satyr profile, mischievous, drunkenness, and orgastic revelry. As you consider the wild weekends enjoyed today by dating couples and party animals with their moho drives, it's clear nothing has changed. The Greek letter Y is upsilon, our letter U. Here's a big foundational girder with no rivets, installed by Constantine in the Roman year 321 CE. This seventh day, the commemoration of creation in which we honor the Creator as the Creator, is a temple in time from sunset Friday, and they have in parentheses, well, they have in the, what is it, these, I forget. But anyway, Friday, Freyday, to sunset, Satyr Day, or it's not Saturday, it's Satyr, Satyr Day. I'm doing a spelling for those that may not have the book. Changed to his day, Sunday, under the penalty of death by only the authority of a man. All theologians and scholars admit there is no scriptural basis for this change, but it was done by the authority of the church. Sabbath is the sign of the everlasting covenant, indicating who we worship, but most refuse the covenant. This day was set apart, dedicated at creation to be a day of complete rest from work, has been superseded by traditions that serve to unite pagans together and overwhelm the beloved. Hold on. Let me go back. This day, which was set apart, dedicated at creation to be a day of complete rest from work, has been superseded by traditions that serve to unite pagans together and overwhelm the beloved of Yahuah, the Nazarene sect. Constantine's historian Eusebius records the empire's edict. All things whatsoever that it was duty to do on the Sabbath, these we have transferred to the Lord's day. Remember, the Lord is a pagan term for one of their gods, right? Look, he also recorded Constantine's infuriated words. The cursed wretches who killed our Lord, the Italian Romans executed him, Constantine's people. We will have nothing in common with the hostile rabble of the Yahudim, or the Jews, or it should be Hebrews. Remember, the Romans executed Yahusha for sedition. Yahusha admitted he was a king, and Kaiser ruled as the king over all the spiritual and secular realm, depicted in the two fingers raised by the Pope. Y'all paying attention? Y'all seen them pictures of the Pope? But matter of fact, they got one right here. Whenever y'all see him do that, don't think he's just trying to quiet everybody down. Peace, everybody. Can I get y'all attention? Shh. He ain't doing that. Look, okay. Look at that. Okay, hold on. Yahusha admitted he was a king, and Kaiser ruled as the king over all the spiritual and secular realm, depicted in the two fingers raised by the Pope. No other ruler uses this unique hand gesture. It is also seen on the statue of Jupiter at the Vatican. The statue was renamed Peter. The lifting of two fingers represents the authority to rule sovereignly over both temporal and spiritual realms. The Dalai Lama goes to the Pope. The Pope doesn't visit the Dalai Lama. A word about time. Since creation, about 6,000 years have been completed. These 6 millennia are the first 6 days, and the 7th will be the millennium of rest. We are very close to the end of the nations ruling themselves, giving the distances in light years. We can see into the heavens, or out, he has in parentheses, outer space. Many have fixed the age of the universe at almost 20 billion years. To look at Adam 5 minutes after he was created, they might estimate him to be 20 years old also. The trees with fruit on them were brought into being fully developed. The animals created the day after the plants needed oxygen from the plants. That's possibly why the animals came second. Relativity has been at work also since the beginning. When Yahuah created the quasars and galaxies of stars, he brought their light to shine upon the earth. That's what it says. He created space-time. The real moons and years are based on the signs and seasons and measured in packages of years called jubilees, Yobel, numbering 50 years each. The pagan mind interpreted the sun, moon, and stars and changing seasons based on fertility and sex. Astrology and the zodiac are the source of all sorcery and rebellion. Plant and animal sex is Yahuah's design, but the fallen state of man caused him to worship it and establish religious traditions based on its processes. All history was recorded by the winners. It's understandable that their process of measuring time is what is used today. The original pattern of Roman timekeeping, established by the authority of Julius Caesar in 46 BCE, is still with us. Originally, there were only 10 months in a Roman year. Our Roman moons totally disregard the real new moons. The proclaiming of the new month settled into when Caesar announced it, and this act was called Caesar's Calends, Latin for proclaim. Originally, the first Roman month was March. After you have read this a number of times, you may begin to see this pagan process of keeping time is a kind of mark on us. Oh yeah. Okay, it's Sunday. What is a week, a day, and a moon? A week is a unit of 7 nights and days. A day is from evening to evening experience from whatever location one happens to be on Earth. A moon is concerned with neither a week or a day, but it is the complete orbital cycle of the moon around the Earth, beginning and ending when the moon comes between the Earth and the sun. Its period is 697 Earth hours, or 29.5 days, and its orbit is not concerned with any one location on the Earth, only the Earth, moon, and sun in relation to one another. Okay. Roman time, the months. The Roman calendar of months ignore the real lunar phases and the new moons. The term blue moon refers to the second full moon that may occur in a Roman month. Roman hypocrisy knows no bounds. March, the first month. Named for the war deity Mars. When the weather began to show signs of warming, the Roman armies would march out to war. Marching is what armies have done ever since to conquer in the power of the deity Mars. April, the second month. The month of Venus, also called Aprilis, from Etruscan April. I know I mispronounced that, y'all. Forgive me. From Greek, Afro, a short form of Aphrodite, the Greek fertility deity. This was the primary month of the great Mother Earth, known by many names. The Earth Mother was fertilized or impregnated on a Sunday after the vernal or the Venus equinox, when the length of days and nights are equal. This Sunday was called, drum roll please, Easter. Prior to this, the pagan priests imposed a fast from sexual relations. We get the term Lent. Y'all know anybody that celebrate Lent? I do. We get the term Lent from the Old English word lectin, which means spring and refers to the lengthening of days as winter turns to spring. Stop with the fertility symbols. You're scaring the rabbit. You got a picture of a rabbit here. The beast, or the reign of Babel, wants everyone to worship the government. The clergy is the woman riding this organism of control. Rome enforced its control over governments through concordance, ensuring only their religious traditions would exist in any realm. The U.S. Constitution made such a concordant, is CONCORDAT, concordat. The U.S. Constitution made such a concordat impossible by the Establishment Clause. We'll finish reading the months. We're going to finish reading the months and then we'll pause. Okay. Tammuz, Babel's Mark, and Ash. Look, y'all. When I saw this, y'all ever grew up and they do this in the Catholic Church and they do this in the Christian Church. The Catholic Church just uses ashes. The Christian Church uses oil. Y'all ever, your mama tell you go get the anointing oil. You get the oil. And you do, I ain't gonna do it, but you get the anointing oil that you done blessed and made a holy oil, and you get it, and you put a cross on your forehead. They do it in Catholicism too. Hold on, I know the picture kind of dark, but that's the priest is putting a cross on her forehead. Right? When I saw this, I'm like, oh, Father, all the times, my mama, we didn't know, we was ignorant. We just, look. When you realize we were born into this system, right? So you're born into a system that automatically stamps you with the mark of the beast, right? That's not the sin necessarily, right? When you realize you have the mark of the beast, you need to step away from the beast system. I'm like, Father, please undo everything that was done. Please remove the mark of the beast from me. While some people waiting to be stamped with different things, I mean, that's a part of the whole system, whatever. But you're missing a big entire picture. It's an entire system that is going on, and the entire world has been fooled. And when you realize it, come out of her, my people. Right? Look, Tammuz. That right, that crossing on the forehead, them ashes doing Lent. That's the mark of Tammuz, people. Listen, Tammuz, Babel's mark in ash. The first day of this fast, the mark of Tammuz was placed on the foreheads of the worshippers, the ancient Tau, or Tau. Ashes on the foreheads comes from the Hindu religion. The wave of Gnosticism from the east arrived in the Levant just prior to the 1st century. The Levant includes the lands of the entire eastern area of the Mediterranean Sea. That's funny because I forgot this was here, and I was actually looking up some stuff on the Levant yesterday. That's funny. The 40th day prior to Easter was always a Woden's Day, giving us the term Ash Wednesday. 9 months after the Earth Mother was impregnated at Easter time, a human gestation period, the sun was reborn at the winter solstice, December 25th, which people celebrate Christmas, right? Further explained under December. May, the 3rd month. This month was named after the Italic fertility deity Maya, or Maia, aka Gaia, Mother Earth, or Mother Nature. And remember, he's going through talking about how it was originally 10 months, right? And in the order that it was. So June used to be the 4th month. This is the month dedicated to Juno, an important Roman female deity, the wife and sister of Jupiter, identified with the Greeks' Hera. Father's Day was always Father's Day was always in this month and on a Sunday because the sun was the pagans' father. He was in his strength at the summer solstice, so you will notice this is still practiced. It is. July, the 5th month. This month was dedicated to Julius Caesar, Rome's first emperor. Caesar is the original word. Caesar is a later development. August used to be the 6th month. This word is Latin for venerable, magnificent, awesome. Gaius Octavius took the name Augustus Caesar.
Can I go with Dad's store?
Yes, you go get some Carmex. Put on your lips. Gaius Octavius took the name Augustus Caesar after becoming emperor, and his title is used for this month. This was to honor himself as Julius had done before. September used to be the 7th month. Septem, S-E-P-T-E-M, the Latin word for the number 7. October used to be the 8th month. This is the Latin word October, 8th month from octo, O-C-T-O, meaning 8. November used to be the 9th month. This month was Novembris from the Latin word novem, meaning 9. December used to be the 10th month. Latin Decemberis from the number decim, 10. The word decimal refers to 10. All these months have shifted, as you know. Even though we are saying December, Latin for 10, we number it the 12th moon. Rather than correcting this, we just keep thinking something else. The beginning of the year is based on the rebirth of the sun. According to scripture, we are to begin counting our moons during the spring as the sun nears the equatorial region, as explained in Exodus chapter 12, verse 2, which Yahuah tells us, he said, this is the beginning of the year for you, during Passover time, which is, and how it was numbered before, beginning March, is that March-April time frame, right? And for the last couple of years, it began towards the end of March as we began tracking the moon cycles to get back on line with time as Yahuah has set it in order, and we're trying to break out of the mode of everything, how it's been done, how they changed everything. All of this begins to make sense, right? Okay. All these months have shifted, as you know. Even though we are saying December, Latin for 10, we number it the 12th moon. Rather than correcting this, we just keep thinking something else. The beginning of the year is based on the rebirth of the sun. According to scripture, we are to begin our counting of the moons in the spring as the sun nears the equatorial region, Exodus 12 and 2. For the whole planet, this is from the perspective of the northern hemisphere. The Creator has spoken, but man's kingdoms ignore him. Speaking to the converts at Galatia, Paul mentions, you are observing special days and months and seasons and years, Galatians 4 and 10. The Galatians were once pagan, enslaved in weak, miserable principles. They began turning back to their heathen Babylonian mythology. Read in this context, because your footnotes will lead you to think Paul was speaking about the Sabbaths and the appointed times. He said, let there be lights in the expanse of the sky to separate day from night, and let them serve as signs to mark the seasons and days and years. Genesis 1:14. It is written, this month is to be for you the first month. This is to be for you the first month of your year. Exodus 12 and 2. Yahuah had to remind them because they had been captive as slaves for over 400 years and were now called out from error, which we have been today, right? We've been called out from error again. He's telling us, return to his law, statutes, and commands the way he has originally set this earth in order, right? Okay, January and February added. With only 10 months in the Roman year, the seasons were appearing later and later every year. Why? It's because they were doing it wrong. They weren't keeping to what Yahuah had said. Yahuah said it's 12 months, right? So then they started adjusting their calendar to what they were seeing, because each year things were coming in later and later, right? With only 10 months in a Roman year, the seasons were appearing later and later every year. Julius Caesar began hearing many complaints, so he appointed an Alexandrian astrologer named Sojournes to devise the needed corrections. Sojournes added 2 months of January and February to the year 46 BC, and it was called the Year of Confusion. For them, because they was doing it wrong in the first place, right? Okay. He also set up the cycle of leap years. Still doing it wrong, because you don't understand what Yahuah said, right? He also said, which all of this stuff is still in play today. We still operating on what they did back here. But we should be going back to what Yahuah has said, right? And doing it the right way. He also set up the cycle of leap years, which added a day to the month of February every 4 years. January is named for a domestic deity, Janus, who was the ruler of beginnings and protected doorways, gates, and arches. Kings would march their armies in processions through great arches. February was named for the female idol Februa. The authority to proclaim new moons resided with the Kaiser. He was the seat of all power, and he was designated the high priest of Janus, the deity of beginnings. The Roman title Pontifex Maximus is Etruscan, bestowed on Kaiser as the head of the Pontifical College of Priests of Janus. The cardinals, the cardinal priests, they just got a black cardinal. Well, I mean, but he been there for a little bit, but it was kind of like a big thing. It's a black cardinal. They got a black priest. So, cardinal is Latin, cardo, meaning hinge. They assisted the priests of Janus in opening the door to the Elysian fields, the pagan heaven. Pontifex Maximus means highest priest in Etruscan, so Kaiser was the gateway to the afterlife for a Roman pagan. Julius Caesar's calendar is called the Julian Calendar. We now have the Gregorian calendar because the title Pontifex Maximus was inherited by the Roman Catholic popes. The authority of Kaiser was transferred to the bishop, the Roman Catholic pope. He also kept his cardinals. The Bishop of Rome also uses Kaiser's title Papa or Pope. Y'all hear people calling the Pope Papa? Okay, just so you know. Another Mithric title. In 1582, Pope Gregory implemented a 10-day adjustment. Remember, I'm telling you the calendar is missing days. It's like, how do you go from here to here? What happened to these days? Just like a couple years ago, the Pope canceled April Fool's Day. It's like, how you cancel a whole day? Because he was mad about something, right? It was, I guess, a little inward family thing. But he canceled April Fool's Day. Like he said, for the whole world. I mean, not that we really celebrated. He was like, it ain't April. We ain't got no April Fools this year. No, strike that from all the calendars. No April Fools for this year. I want to say it was 2000, not 2000. I'm sorry, not 2000. I want to say it was 2019. It could have. I think it was 2019. Just Google when did the Pope cancel April Fool's Day. I could be wrong, but I think it was 2019. I want to say it was 2019. In 1582, Pope Gregory implemented a 10-day adjustment to the calendar designed by Sosigenes by wiping out 10 days for that year. This was obeyed by the Papal States, but the rest of the Western world remained on the former timetable. It was not until the time of Benjamin Franklin that the rest of society came into line with Rome. Landlords previously thought they would lose 10 days' rent, but Franklin convinced them that they would be receiving their rents 10 days sooner by obliging the Pope. So now we have the Gregorian calendar. This same Pope authorized what is known as the Gregorian chant. These chants stem directly from monks' hymns, originally called Orphic hymns or the hymns of Orpheus. He simply sanctified the pagan hymns. Okay, and we'll stop here for today. We'll pick it up with Nimrod's rebellion tomorrow. So that's pretty enlightening, huh? Y'all that didn't notice about the days of the week and the months. If you got the book, go ahead and read ahead or reread over it so it can all sink down if you didn't catch it. Because I know this is a lot of information. And like you said, it may take you a couple times to read through it to assimilate the information, right? But it's really good nonetheless. All right, y'all. Page number 20. Okay, y'all. So that was Fossilized Customs. And we read pages 13 through 23. I'll always post a link if you want to get a copy. I'll put the Amazon link in there. The Amazon link will be in there as long as we're reading this. It'll always be in the description. So if you don't have it, you can go get it. Right? All right, y'all. So it is Sunday, May the 2nd, 2021, day 143 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, also known as the Old Testament. And of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 812. And today we read 1 Chronicles 11, 12, and 13. And I already told y'all we read Fossilized Customs, pages 13 through 23. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead on over here to the blessing, and I'll double check some of the comments. Good morning, Anita. Oh yeah, Dana, I see your comment. What you said, when you said how should we accurately refer to the days of the week? We need to stop saying those words. You're absolutely right. Who has said they should, like names of other gods, should not pass through our lips, right? I want to keep to it as much as possible. Okay. Remember, the blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. Remember, the first 21 verses is the Nazarite vow. Man or woman can take the Nazarite vow. And Yahuah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, May Yahuah bless us and keep us. May Yahuah make his face shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuah lift up his countenance upon us and give us peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. Okay. Over here. Ooh, all hail our media overlords. Ooh, you got a lot of comments in here. Let me see. You're right. I like the comment. The Hellenization, Roman paganization, makes us say foreign gods' names, also obscures the actual holidays we should celebrate. Don't let anyone judge you for this, but try to honor Yahuah properly. I agree with that, because a lot of times it kind of goes with what Dana was saying. We need to stop saying those words like how they've named it. Because, okay, so you know how... Okay, so those who are now beginning to understand our Hebrew roots and trying to go back to the original ways of saying things, but because the world has been moved in the way it has been and everybody are familiar with certain terms, sometimes look, it's almost like we're forced to say certain things or people won't understand what you're saying, right? Or they have to sit and think for a minute. Like if you don't say like the 7th day, oh yeah, on the 4th day I'm going to go do this, and people who not if they're used to saying the names of the week, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or whatever. What do you mean the 4th day? The 4th day of what? They're gonna be, unless you're talking to like-minded people who's on the same page and we're trying to go back, we can. As we do that, like with people who understand, we can easily kind of let it rattle off and nobody be confused. But people who are still steeped into the system, it's like, okay. So, look, Thursday, man. I'm talking about Thursday. Oh, okay. It's like you're almost forced to say it a lot of times because that's what everybody's been trained to think, right? And it's going to be a process of everybody turning back to the truth, right? So it's really kind of hard, but you have to do as much as you can to stick to Yahuwah's commands, like you said, by honoring Yahuwah at all times. But sometimes you got to have a little grace and patience with some people, you know, who really don't understand, and you don't want to confuse them, you know. So, but yeah, that I like that comment. So, all right, y'all. So. Okay, but yeah, a lot of the stuff you said, I'm not gonna read all your comments, but we're actually gonna go through a lot of the stuff. Is this fossilized custom is gonna hit over a lot of what you said here. Okay, y'all. All right, y'all. All right. So with that being said, y'all, that is it for today. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here. I don't really have anything else to do today, y'all. So I love y'all. Oh, we won't be here tomorrow. We are resting tomorrow. I will see y'all back here Tuesday morning, 7:15 a.m. Y'all enjoy your day off. Get some rest. Go back and re-listen to it. Like I said, reread through it just so it can sink in. Read ahead if you like. All right, y'all. Love y'all. See y'all Tuesday morning, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.